makes you believe that it's all okay. And out of nowhere comes heartache and pain, raining down on your sunny day. We don't need a new world order. Living free is our battle cry. We don't need
Hey, morning. How you doing? This is Bob on Bob's Blues in the News, coming to you directly from Atlanta, Georgia. Just off the cuff, giving you my 3 cents. Little rough tune coming in, New World Order. A new tune I'm working on. Actually, I wrote that quite a while ago. And when I wrote that song, I was thinking about the globalists and that New World Order. You know, how they wanted to make everybody come together under one world order, controlled by the globalist and woke climate change people. Well, things have changed since I wrote that song. That's the thing with protest songs. When you write protest songs, sometimes the situation changes, right? But I guess you could say, talk about new world orders anytime in history, because there's always some kind of new order coming about sooner or later. But the new world order now seems to be the Trump order. Trump is rearranging everything. It's Trump's new world order. For better or for worse. A lot of things I sort of appreciate what he's doing. But I have my doubts on some of these things. One story I've been following for the last several weeks intensely, and I can't really get my news on legacy media because they hardly cover it. So I often go to YouTube. I find myself on YouTube most of the time. In fact, I'm even thinking about just cutting off my normal TV service, for the legacy news channels. Maybe I'll keep Netflix or something like that and watch a movie. But most of my news I'm getting on YouTube. The only thing that the legacy media right now, I don't watch too much of the liberal media, I must admit. It's usually Fox or Newsmax because I can't stand listening to the woke talking heads. I should, listen to my enemies more, find out what they're thinking. But you don't have to be a rocket science to know what they're thinking. But so when I go to, Fox or when I go to Newsmax, those channels, they very seldom talk about Iran. And they mention it every now and then. And this has been, for me, the major story for the last 3 weeks, because you have to realize the United States of America currently has more military assets in that part of the region, in the Middle East right now, than it's put together for any other war since World War II, probably. It's a massive, massive buildup of military forces because of the situation in Iran. But nobody talks about it much. And I feel so sorry for the people there. I listen to the news on YouTube and I get, what's going on. I listen to Tutsi TV is one. It's an Iranian guy. It's broadcasting out of London, has a podcast. And because he's Iranian, he has a lot of insight into what's going on, even though currently, they've killed the internet. And, it's more or less in darkness what's going on over there. But we know a lot of people are getting murdered. And Trump says, I'm on the way, I'm locked and loaded, here I come. But as of yet, nothing has transpired kinetically on the ground concerning the United States and Iran or Israel. Israel once said that, don't attack now, we're not ready, because they wanted to make sure their defenses were in place. And I know Trump, when he does something, he wants it to be perfect, and he doesn't want any collateral damage. So he wants to totally shock and awe them, right? So he wants to make sure all his ducks are in a row. But in the meantime, a lot of people are getting killed. And they're brutal. They're animals over there. They're brutal. And some say, well, maybe because they want the army to, rise up against the Ayatollah and take over the government. So it'll be an eternal kind of coup and would help bring stability to Iran. But whatever, something has to be done. I think something eventually will be done. But a lot of people in Iran currently are starting to lose faith in Trump, unfortunately, because of that. And, he's going to have to do something quickly not to lose faith totally in regards to what's going on in Iran. And he's got and besides what's going on in Iran, you have the Middle East deal. I mean, the war in the Middle East is not over, even though, Trump comes out and says the stuff. Peace in the Middle East, yeah, and we got this border peace. Everything is hunky-dory. We'll bring in everybody together. Not everybody, actually. In fact, a lot of the Europeans don't want to get involved. But Europe is dead anyway. But then he brings in Turkey and Qatar and even representatives from Hamas. I mean, you have to realize there's an ideology there. They're not going to go away. And Trump is thinking economics. He's thinking how he can bring people together under the notion that we all want prosperity and peace. But how can you destroy a 1,400-year-old ideology that says we have to kill all the Christians and the Jews because Islam is the only religion that's true, and we have to conquer the world with our jihad? I'm not saying that every Muslim thinks that way, but the ones who are causing all the problems in the world think that way, and it's a reality on the ground. So I don't know where it's going to go, this border peace. Israel is sort of going and playing along with it. Some people are saying Netanyahu has given in too much to Trump. So I don't know. Between Iran and the Middle East, there's a lot of volatility. And then at home, you have a lot of volatility because most of what the legacy media is covering is what's happening in Minnesota with this fight against ICE. You have the governor and the mayor of Minneapolis who are basically revolutionaries against law enforcement, against law and order. And somebody else just got killed the other day, some male nurse who happened to be armed, but I don't know why you go to a demonstration armed, and then he started a fight against ICE or, resisting arrest or whatever, which is bad news. And he ends up getting killed. So, I think Tom Holden, Trump's man for national defense security. What's his title? Tom Holden. Let me put this on. Yeah, the border czar, Tom Holman. So he's going to Minnesota tonight, I believe, and to report on what's going on to Trump, to report to Trump. But something's got to give there as well. I don't know if they have to withdraw momentarily or what, but people have to face the fact that you have to have law and order, and you can't have leaders from states or wherever saying to the people that it's okay to resist law enforcement. It's not going to work. It's chaos. So there you go. So you got that story in Minnesota. And a lot of other stories around the world. There's something going on in China even where, Xi Jinping is fighting against this general, powerful general, and he seems like he doesn't have the army behind him totally, and there's some kind of uprising in China even. So we'll see where that goes. And everything's in flux. Everything is volatile. And then you got Trump. He goes into Venezuela, takes away the leader there because he doesn't like him, and makes agreement to take over Greenland because he needs Greenland. He's making the world the way he wants it. Because, we're not in the same world we were right after World War II, where, we had a sort of stability in the world after we won World War II, and you did have United Nations for what it's worth, which is not worth much, but basically they weren't so radical as they are today. But we've lost that. I mean, times have changed. So we're way past post-World War II era. We're in the era of, I don't know, I don't even have a name for it yet. An era where everything's in flux. And there is a new world order coming, but we're not really sure how it's going to turn out. And there are a lot of forces at play, like I said. And Islam is a big problem everywhere in the world. Europe is more or less finished. So that part of Western civilization has been destroyed thanks to incompetent leaders. I'm not saying they can't come back, but it seems to me it's going to be very, very difficult for France, for England to come back and to be anything like they used to be as far as having prestige and power in the world, because they've given everything away. And if you listen to Gad Saad, who was a commentator, Jewish commentator, born in Lebanon, but he knows the Arabs very well, and he knows psychology very well. He's a psychologist. He just wrote a book called Suicidal Empathy, which is basically all these people on the left are so empathetic and so compassionate toward their enemies, they're killing themselves. And then you have Trump and his people, MAGA, make America great again. But I think Trump wants to make the world greater again. He wants to bring the world together. And he wants to be known as the peacemaker, which is all fine and dandy, but you can't have total peace when you have still so much evil in the world, and you can't win over evil just by saying, we're going to make you prosperous. We're going to make Gaza into, Las Vegas of the Mediterranean. It ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen. Maybe generations from now, but not now, because you need total reform in the Muslim world. And we're nowhere near that. But anyway, God's got a plan, right? It's a divine plan. Some people say it's getting near the end of days. It's getting near when the Messiah shows up. And we all have peace and tranquility. And we all redeemed. At least all the good guys anyway. Well, that's a religious aspect. But as far as the secular aspect goes, we got hell to pay. Anyway, this is Bob on Bob's Blues and the News. See you later, alligator.